Hello, I'm not Chuck, and today I'm going to change my approach a little bit. I'm going to tell you some of the things that I think are right with the Little House on the Road video from November 30th, 2019, and I'll also tell you some things that I don't agree with. As you can see, the title on the video thumbnail is Nomadic Health Alert, and the subtitle is Nomads Contracting Serious Symptoms. Of course, humans don't contract symptoms, they contract diseases and develop symptoms. But maybe I'm too picky. They're just words. They don't matter, or do they? Anyway, let's move on to Rob talking about some of his comments.
I get comments that tell me that I have no idea what I'm doing.
Here's where I'm on Rob's side. I think he knows exactly what he's doing most of the time. He manages to find campsites, get to the campsites, make camp, break camp, keep himself fed and groomed, all the while making 3 or 4 videos a week and maybe doing a live stream. Overall, I'd say Rob is pretty much on top of things. In the next clip, he tells us how hard it is on the road.
It's not all peaches and cream, rainbows and unicorns.
He's right there. There are lots of things that can and do go wrong when you're on the road. In fact, many of the same problems that you have in a sticks and bricks dwelling exist on the road, and in some cases they're even harder to deal with. If you're having trouble with your finances, your relationships, your health, don't think they're going to get better just because you take off and travel. In fact, in some cases, they'll get worse and much harder to deal with. On the other hand, the scenery and climate can get a lot better. Next up, Rob tries to explain why he didn't replace that drone that burned up in his pop-up camper fire.
How many times have you actually floated above the trees to look around? The answer is never. So why would I want to give you this unrealistic fantasy about the nomadic lifestyle?
As far as he goes, I think Rob is correct. Humans can't fly above the trees and look down upon the scenery. But I think he's missing the point. The point is not to use a drone to duplicate what humans can do, but to complement the things that they can't do and provide us with views that we couldn't get otherwise. I like some drone footage. It can spice up a video, and some of it is quite good. Up next, he talks about the reality of full timing in response to another viewer comment that suggests he spends all winter in warmer weather.
I don't understand. Why don't you just go in someplace warmer? Because the reality says that I had to be in Missouri last year.
True enough. Reality does take precedence over plans, hopes, and dreams. Last October, I wanted to leave Lollapalooza in Texas and head west. I wanted to visit Roswell and Albuquerque and Phoenix and Quartzsite and Yuma and Los Algodones and Parker and all those places and many more. Unfortunately, reality jumped up and bit me. I had to come back home to Tennessee. But I'm hoping, hope against hope, that I'll be on the road again next January. Next, Rob gives us a psychology lesson. He has a theory about a couple of psychological theories that he believes cause van dwellers and full-time RVers to fail.
And these 2 reasons are why we'll fail at a nomadic lifestyle. The first one is called cognitive dissonance.
Well, despite a little trouble with the pronunciation, he does a reasonable job of explaining cognitive dissonance. That's the state where a person has conflicting beliefs or attitudes about a particular subject. The textbook example is smoking, where people often know how bad it is for their health, but they also know that it gives them pleasure. He gives an example involving rain, but unfortunately, it doesn't hold water.
Because science says so, that it rains all the time.
Well, of course, it doesn't rain all the time. And science doesn't say that it rains all the time. The point would have been better made if he'd said that the weather isn't great all the time, or that it rained a lot of the time. Here's the second psychological anomaly that Rob believes causes van dwellers to fail.
It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. I'm probably saying it wrong. I'll put the spelling right here on the screen. The less you know about a subject, the more you think you know about it.
He gets it right, and I commend him for posting that Wikipedia reference. I wish he would do more of that. Anyway, there are these two eggheads from Cornell University, Dunning and Kruger, who lent their names to an old idea that most of us already understood. I always like to say it this way: you don't know what you don't know, meaning that none of us knows everything about everything, and in fact there are some things that we don't even know exist, much less understand. Thus, the less we know about some subjects, the more we think we know about it, and conversely, the more we actually know about it, the lower we estimate our own expertise. Understanding nomadic lifestyle certainly could be one example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Listen to Rob give a specific topic example dealing with the availability of cell service.
You know, do they have Verizon or AT&T? Finally found a website called Sensorly, but it took me almost a year and a half to find this website.
Well, he's going to have to get another source for that information. Sensorly is closing up shop. Next, we get a replay of a favorite Little House on the Road topic: test runs. That's the idea that you need to make some test runs to help discover the problems and perils and maybe some solutions to nomadic lifestyle before you head out full time.
And so before you come out here, you got to do test runs. And you got to do long test runs.
I don't know how long the test runs have to be. That's probably a function of how fast you learn. It is a good idea, however, to learn to crawl as a nomad before you try to run. Now, let's go back to the main subject of this Little House on the Road video. Do you remember what it was? I'll put the thumbnail up again. That should refresh your recollection of what the video was supposed to be about. Do you remember when it was talked about in the video? Neither do I. And that's because it was never mentioned except in the thumbnail. And that brings me to one of the things I like least about some of Little House on the Road videos: those clickbait thumbnails. Most of the time, there is some connection between the video and the thumbnail. That connection usually is held until the end of the video. But in this one, there is no correlation. The subjects described in the thumbnail were never mentioned. Not a word, nada. And finally, on December the 5th at about 10:30 in the morning, I copied all of the comments that were posted on this particular Little House video, a video that had been up since the 30th of November. I have read them all, and I didn't find a single one that even mentioned the lack of information about this mysterious nomadic disease. Could I be the only one who cares about clickbait? Or maybe the only one who wanted to know about a mysterious nomadic illness? That seems unlikely. Next, look at the number of views: 4,610. Then take a look at the number of comments. It says 37, but I counted only 36. And of those 36, 10 of them are replies by Little House on the Road. Does it strike you as odd that with 4,610 views, there were only 26 viewer comments? Certainly does me. I'll let you decide what you think that's due to. Until next time, remember, I'm proud to be an RVer, and I'm not Chuck.